Good morning, everyone. This is Liz Medina. I'm back after at least a year, and this is a completely unscripted video just to talk to you again about energy work and some recent comprehensions I've had. Thanks to a fall that I had on the stone steps outside the cottage where I live in the foothills of the Andes in the easternmost part of the city of Santiago, Chile. It was a pretty nasty fall. It happened because I was awake at 2:30 in the morning, treating myself with magnets. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this video is to talk a little bit about who I am, my background, so that you know that I am a real person doing real things, a variety of things. And that is the most scripted part of this video. So I wanted to introduce myself because, you know, in the digital age and chat GTP or whatever it is that I've never used and never will, what is real and what is not, what is simulation and what isn't. This is key. This is a key conundrum that we all face. And of course, one of the benefits of working on one's energy in a real way and not in an imagined, illusory way is that you develop your intuition much more. So let me share the screen. And of course, I hope it works. I'm not going to edit this because I don't know how to edit videos. Okay, this is the Zoom thing. Okay. This is me, Elizabeth Medina. I'm an energy work instructor, biomagnetism practitioner. This is healing using pairs of magnets. I learned this from the discoverer of biomedical biomagnetism, Dr. Isaac Gois of Mexico City. He discovered biomagnetism in 1988. That's another story. Perhaps in another video, I'll talk more about that. I'm also a writer, but on specific themes related to Filipino history, because I was born and raised in the Philippines. Later, I lived for 10, 11 years in all in the United States. And then I came to Chile in 1983, and I've lived here ever since. And here I've worked as a translator and conference interpreter. So I wanted to share this picture, these photos of my other activities. I have a blog, and this is mainly about Filipino history, identity, cultural themes, and how these relate to Hispanic American history, culture, identity, and of course, Spanish themes. This is actually the place where I live. This is a cottage on a hillside in a canyon in the eastern part of Santiago that's called El Arayan. Arayan is a species of tree endemic to Chile. And I also am a writer. My essays, short stories, my translations, books, talks are in this website, academia.edu. And these are the books that I have published. I've self-published in Chile. The first is the translation of the biography of Dr. Jose Rizal, our national hero, published in 1907 by the Spanish Filipinologist Wenceslao Emilio Retana. I published this translated into English in 1997 in Santiago. And I published an autoethnobiography entitled Sampaguitas en la Cordillera, which in English is Sampaguitas in the Andes, in 2006. This is in Spanish, although it is in English in Amazon, and it's entitled Discovery in the Andes, Reencounter with Filipinas in Chile. And then I've begun writing fiction, and this is also in Spanish. I do have the English version, but I've yet to post it. It's entitled La Girondelle, and it was published in 2022, not by myself, but by a literary contest, as it won first prize in the Spanish section of the Premio Antonio M. Abad, which is a literary competition sponsored by the University of the Far East in Manila. So that was in 2022. And this is the autobiography of Adriana Bessy, my teacher in energy work. I published this book, which was her autobiography. She had just finished it in 2008 when she passed unexpectedly. So I published this book in Spanish in 2009. So these are my kind of credentials. I've been practicing biomagnetics since 2005. And as I have explained in my previous video on psychobioenergy, I met Adriana in 1994 when I was suffering from a clinical depression. I was healed in 2 weeks, and I decided to become her student. And I remained her disciple until her passing in 2008, at which time I decided to continue her work. And so I legalized psychobioenergetics, and with the idea of continuing the school. And this I have done. I have taught a few workshops, weekend workshops, but pretty much I did have groups. Pretty much that died out because it just became too difficult for people to meet on a weekly basis, face to face. And like Adriana, I have never run after people. Adriana never chased after anybody. And she did live in Chile from 1951, I believe. That's when she arrived here, until she passed in 2008. And she had many, many groups, and she was always busy working, doing her individual sessions. But after that, after she transcended, basically there was an instructor in Italy whom I did not meet, and so I don't know what she is up to, but I'm sure she is still an instructor. And there's myself in Chile, and I heard about, Adriana once mentioned an Irish priest, but I really work on my own, and as I said, it's a very low-key thing, which is the ethos that I learned from Adriana. I also had been an activist in a Latin American movement for social and personal, simultaneous social and personal transformation called Siloism. And I was in that movement until I left in 1990 because activism was no longer enough for me. It had also become very political, and not that I have anything in principle against political activism. I just know that it doesn't produce change within the system, because the system has to disappear, and that is exactly what's happening now. However, the value in participating in organizations with commitment is that we learn how to interact with others. We learn about human nature, unevolved human nature, and the aspiring to evolution human nature, which is extremely positive and extremely necessary, because we all start out extremely ingenuous. And so often idealists fall into bitterness, and they renounce their desire for working for humanity's evolution. And it's very important to overcome that stage. Basically, when I met Adriana and I learned about energy work, was the blessing that came to me, because I was able to transform the disillusionment with organizations and in general with activism, with the rational path, and also the path of the warrior. But it is so important to go through all of these stages, because they produce the distillation of one's desire for transcendence. I don't think one can skip those stages. Whether one has to go through them, I am speculating, through all the series of reincarnations, or within a single life. And when I met Adriana, to me, it was the way of Tantra. I mean, the way of love. I'm not speaking about anything sexual, no. Tantric sex. Who knows? Who knows what happens there? But that is not of interest to me. There is so much confusion and so much charlatanism in our world around this super important subject of energy. And I felt that finding Adriana was absolutely the final compass reading for me. And I've stayed with that north. How long has it been now? 18, yeah, going on, my God, from 1994, end 1994 until 2024. There, you've got it. It's about 30 years, I guess. And well, I'll close this now. And I want to show you the stairs that I fell down. Now, this was the view that I had at 2:45 in the morning. As you see, it is a very rough-hewn staircase. That's the view from up where my cottage is. And this is the view from below, looking up. I probably fell around here because here it's broken and it was cold. It was already cold, and I realized it, even though my slippers had good rubber soles, there was probably a film of moisture. And also this break, I probably stepped right there with my left foot. And I probably fell on my backside here. I am so glad I missed this edge. And what happened was that my left leg flew up in the air and I saw it. I saw it above me. And basically it did a whiplash motion, like if this was my left leg, right? This was my thigh, this was my lower leg. It did this motion up in the air, boom. And you know, at my age, I'm 70 now. And it's been 4 years that I haven't been doing yoga because the 3 years of the pandemic made everything shut down. And then, you know, it's been many years of excessive sedentary life. And in fact, after this fall, I realized that I truly have to return to twice a week yoga, which is like a very important decision. Before that, I would walk and I would ride my bike, but a structured class can't be beat. And so that, thanks to this fall, okay. What was I doing out there at 2:45? Well, I had, as I told you, I was treating myself with biomagnetism because I had reflux, and the magnets treat that very well. Anyway, it was minor, just bad eating habits get the better of one. And so I heard a cat scratching at my door, a cat that I have fed and taken care of, although he is an outdoor cat. And so I gave him food, and then I saw him looking down the stairs towards the parking area. And we occasionally have feral cats coming into the parcela, and that creates a problem for us because I have a cat and he had recently gotten into a fight. Who knows if it was with Nifty, the cat that I fed that night, or with a feral cat that I have seen. And so I got interested, and with my flashlight, I went down those stair steps looking to see if there was a stray cat in the vicinity. And of course, I had my fall. I did walk down. I could walk. I was very, very sore. Though I didn't see anything, I went back up and I went back to bed. And I was smart enough to realize I had to put magnets on my left ankle and my left knee. And then after that, cold ice. You know, those thingies that have water inside, and you put them inside the freezer, and so they're frozen and you can apply them without getting wet. And so I did do that, and that was great. But the next day, it was pretty bad. And the wonderful thing is that although I was crooked, walking crooked, and I had an interpretation the coming Monday, and this was Thursday, early morning Thursday. And thanks to the magnets and energy work, and I also have 2 small gadgets that are called Biomed. They're no longer on sale. They've taken out a newer version. This was a Canadian product. They've taken out an ultra expensive version. But I have these 2 things which release programmable frequencies, and you can apply them to like a sore neck, and they really work. And so thanks to those resources and energy work, which I began to do more often than once a day, by Monday, I was fine. I could walk without too much problem. The problem was that to get to the interpretation venue, I had to walk many blocks. And this was Monday and Tuesday. So by Wednesday, I was again very sore. But I've observed this process And also, I have a very good friend who lives in Mendoza, Argentina, and she herself had a fall, also on stone steps. But her fall was much more serious for her because she actually hit the stone surface. And so her right leg was completely covered with bruises. And it had been 2 weeks and she still wasn't getting over the pain. In my case, there was no impact, so I didn't have any bruising. It was just the pain. And I could see when I would sit down that my left knee was obviously bigger than my right knee. So what happens when we have a fall? The energy, our energy body and the interface with our physical body, and this is what I understand. Adriana did give me clues to this, but in my own work, I have come to receive downloads, if you want to call them that, based on observation and also my physical registers. But Adriana had explained that we have energy layers that are structured. And when we have any kind of an injury, that becomes chaotic. The energy layers are disturbed. Imagine if you have a bad cut, or you get a gunshot wound, or you cut yourself, chopping wood, anything like that, or you have an accident, right? And you break a bone, you have a fracture. Any of these accidents cause a separation of the layers of energy. And that separation, that rupture, releases gas. And the gas, because we are made of solid, liquid, and gas, right? Chemical, which in the final analysis are chemicals. And this gas, when released, pressures on nerve endings. And that is what causes inflammation and pain. And my girlfriend did not do bioenergetics. She is with the movement and she does do energy work, but it's a different kind. I consider it much more basic and much less of a clear system with its own language. It's basically a form of meditation and imagery, which is fine, which works. But I believe that it doesn't work as well as psychobioenergetics. And so I invited her to participate in my Zoom meeting. And she did. And it did give her some relief. But my big preoccupation is that after 2 weeks, it was still bad. And she finally told me that she started to take antibiotics. And so what happens when the blood does not circulate, that's what happens when you get exposed to cold and you get chilblains. And I remember traveling to Madrid in the winter and getting chilblains when I arrived back in Chile, and it was pretty painful. And I told Adriana about it, and she helped me. She said that you have to cause the blood kind of freezes, and so you have to make it circulate again. And in the case of my good friend, she also has taken the thingy. And so I finally was wondering whether she might have the result right that we are all hearing, that the thing causes blood clotting. So I haven't heard how she is now, but my own experience was really interesting for me because I began to observe the process of those energy layers, the phenomenon that took place. because although at first I thought that it was my ankle and my knee where the shock was produced and where the energy blockage occurred and the inflammation, right? I was also feeling the very next day an insistent pain in this area. It was like in my trapezoid, my right trapezoid muscle. And it was like the kind of pain you get when you sleep on the wrong side in the wrong position and you get uh, neck pain. And at first, it was like a throbbing pain the whole day. And this continued for about 3-4 days, really decreasing in intensity. And it took me a while to realize that it was absolutely connected to the shock that the left side of my body had sustained. And what else? I also began to feel lower back. It wasn't exactly pain, but it was soreness. Yes. And then the most interesting thing is that I began to feel pain in my right shoulder and my left shoulder as well. And also nerve pain down my left arm. And even in my right arm, it would jump. Now, one of the things that Adriana told me as well about pain was that permanent, constant pain in the same place is bad. But pain that moves around, especially if you're doing energy work, is a good sign. So that was what was happening to me. Basically, the pain was jumping around. And it's very telling because often there is that symmetrical thing where if you have a discomfort or a pain in your left side, it will move to the same place on the right side. And well, it was fantastic that, well, I never take analgesics anyway, but another friend that I went to speak with, excuse me, I told him about my fall and he gave me 2 pills, 2 analgesic pills that he had been given by a friend in the States. And actually, those were very useful because around 2 on the second or third night after my fall, I couldn't sleep because of the pain in my left knee, especially. So I couldn't move also. My entire body was sore. And I couldn't I couldn't move in bed, sleeping without feeling pain. So it kept waking me up and I couldn't sleep. So I did take that 1 pill and it was marvelous. I understand completely how people get addicted to painkillers because not only did it diminish the pain, but also it brought about relaxation and somnolence, and I was able to sleep. And I finally used the second pill 2 weeks later because what happened was that, and this is probably not just due to the fall, but also to sedentarism, that one day I started with lower back pain. I mean, in the middle of the day, I had done lots of things. I had taken a shower. I had gotten ready to go out and go uptown to do some things. And I was fine. And suddenly I started to feel a soreness. And pretty soon it was so bad that I was already crooked. But I did my stuff anyway, because one of the things was that I went to a place called CERAGEM, CERAGEM, which is a place where they have jade beds that you lie down on. They put in a program, and basically there are rollers that massage your spinal column and that emit heat. And it's really wonderful and really super cheap. And I had decided to go there to helped my left leg get better. Because after those 2 days of interpreting jobs, when I had to walk a lot, it really was not the best for my body, and it delayed my recovery considerably. And then lots of other sore spots started manifesting, but it was part of that restructuring of the energetic layers. It had to happen, and I went through it, but that second pill helped because the back pain was bad. I mean, after I lay on the jade bed and I did 2 sessions, which probably lasted an hour and a half, I could walk straight, but the pain was there. It did not go away. And in fact, I wasn't able to take the metro back to the last metro station where I parked my car. I had to take a cab to my car because I could not face that walk, because I became crooked again. And it was really hurting. And ever since then, that was about, let me see, it's Saturday. And that happened last Wednesday. Yes, that was Wednesday. I took the pill, I slept well, and then the next day my recovery was back on track. And today I'm fine. And I think it's been 2 weeks since I fell. So this was what I wanted to share about the energy, how energy works and why it's so important to do energy work. You see, when you do psychobioenergetics, you're constantly mobilizing your energy and you are constantly raising your capacity to do that, to transform your static energy into bioradiant. And you are in a developing dialogue with your energy body. I'm saying energy body, we can call it double, but actually we have many, many, many energy bodies, if you want to be really precise. But a person who doesn't do energy work basically is like a normal person compared to Nadia Comaneci, the famous gymnast. When you do energy work, you are doing energy gymnastics. You're constantly flowing. You're constantly activating your energy centers in the brain, constantly transforming energy, causing it to circulate. Because when we do the mini exercises, after I do the energy transformation with the people I'm working with, we do our mini exercises, and that in itself is training for energy governance, because you are using your mind to project the mental aid to your feet. And what you are doing is giving the order to your Kundalini energy. I mean, there's no magic about it. It's completely based on the laws of energy. And so when you have a fall or an accident, your energy bodies have a much shorter recovery time. And you are the person who is carrying out this process. People told me, oh, go see a doctor or, get therapy. But I know that if I go to a physical therapist, what they basically do is do exercises with you, right? And they apply heat. And actually one day when I got up, I was still sitting in bed and I felt the pain in my leg because it was really hard. Now I can really bend it now. But in bed, it hurt when I would bend it to get out of the covers. And so I realized, if I repeat this motion, and I started to repeat it, the pain started diminishing, reducing. And then I was able to bend it and get out of bed more easily. And when I would feel a twinge in my lower back because I moved forward, I said, oh, do it again. I started to move forward, move forward, move forward. And I saw that the pain reduced. But why can I do that? It's because I've been working on my energy. And so my energy is strained and I have governance. Now, this is a long and slow process. And the most important thing is permanence, constancy, and developing the habit of working with your belly button, your navel, which is the easiest exercise every single day. Whenever it's easier for you. It also helps you to fall asleep. So I wanted to communicate this to the few people who have come across my video and have subscribed as a gift that I wanted to share. This is I don't know how to actually say it. Sometimes one doesn't see words in one's head when just has a feeling, but basically the thankfulness that I feel to my teacher Adriana, that I met her at a very precise moment, and that my decision to become her disciple, her student, was unwavering after that, and it will never waver ever again, because like the image behind me, our dialogue with energy opens up opens up our world and our existence. It's a very difficult existence in 3D. We are still here. We still have these dense physical bodies, but our physical bodies are changing. And when we do energy work, our physical bodies do change faster. Of this, I have no doubt, because everything is one. Our energy, our body is just a denser form of energy, and the time has come for us to open up the doors, the windows between these densities. And the way to make this physical 3D body more subtle is by using the power of the mind and the brain to transform our subtle energies, which in turn are what give life to our physical body, and working in every single billion cell that we are working with, the transformation is produced. And the best way to do this is slowly. Nothing dramatic, nothing flashy, but something that is constant and becomes a part of our daily life. And before we know it, we've already been doing energy work for 5 years, for 7 years, for 8 years. And we can tell when we are in a state of calm and more objective about things, that actually my life has gotten better and things are always working out for me. And especially from the difficulties, from the accidents, good things come, and nothing bad happens but for the good, for the better. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you for listening, and have a lovely weekend. It is Saturday, the 4th of May, in 2024, and we are growing ever closer to to our birth into the quantum leap for humanity. Thank you and bye.